All right, today we are going to be talking about theories of motivation. Throughout this class, we've learned about different theories of motivation to include expectancy value, causal attribution, and goal orientation. We're going to do a brief overview and a synopsis of all three. So first off, we'll start with what is motivation. Motivation, there are internal factors that stimulate desire and energy in people to do continually interested and to a job, role, or subject, or to make an effort to attain a goal. It's the crucial element in setting and attaining goals. We see this issue a lot in motivating. All three of us teach middle school, and it is a constant game trying to motivate 11 to 14-year-olds to do their schoolwork. And we're going to talk about how we utilize these theories to motivate those outside of school, but still utilizing these theories.
Okay, so we're going to start off with the expectancy value theory. The idea of this theory is that when students expect to do well on a task, then they are more motivated and tend to enjoy it a little bit more. If you'll go to the next slide, please. So expectancy value theory, again, states that achievement-related decisions are driven based off individuals' expectations of success for themselves on that task. For instance, students who are more likely to engage in an activity if they anticipate doing well and that they enjoy it. So that is the expectancy piece of it. As far as the value piece of this theory, the model divides the task value into 4 parts: attainment, intrinsic, utility, and cost. The idea of the intrinsic piece of that is, are students or are people interested, and do they enjoy the task or the activity that they are doing? The attainment is really tied back to their identity, and do whatever task that they are doing, is that part of their identity. For my paper for this class, I wrote about my friend's daughter who plays softball. And if you were to ask her who she would identify as a softball player. So that is showing the attainment piece of it, that she really identifies the activity of playing softball as part of who she is. For utility, is this task useful? This goes back to students asking why they have to learn about rocks and minerals, which is something they learn in my class, because they don't see how that relates to their lives. That is not something that they feel they have to know. It is not useful information for them. And then cost. So whatever the activity is, or whatever the task at hand is doing it worth it to them? The expectancy value model shows a set of factors of influences expectations for success and task value. So again, the abilities, past experiences, goals, self-concepts, beliefs, expectations, interpretations. It's how they relate to all of those things. So for my softball player, just to give you a brief how I use this, she is amazing at defense, but when it comes to offense, so hitting, she really, really struggles. So I tried to be more cautious of how I was motivating her and trying to help her to be better at the plate. So before a big game, I would text her, just letting her know that she is good. She is coming up on the age of recruitment. So she's getting really nervous because here in about a month and a half, colleges will be able to make her an offer. And she just is not where she needs to be for some of the schools that she wants. And so she's getting really nervous. And I didn't want to add any extra stress. So I just tried to help build her up and motivate her that way, and letting her know that no matter what the outcome is, she is good and she's going to get where she wants to be. After a game, I would make sure to praise her for all that she did well. And if she didn't do so well, then we kind of talked through what could be done differently, how she needs to adjust to perform better. After writing that paper where I talked about motivating her, she hit her first home run. So that was really exciting. Okay, next slide, please.
Okay, so the causal attribution theory. Next slide. Okay, go to the next slide. Okay, so causal attribution theory explains how people infer the cause of events, especially others' behavior. The causal attribution theory deals with the process by which individuals make attribution about why something happens, and depending whether that cause is internal, which is dispositional, or external, situational. In my paper, when I did that, I actually did it about my own motivation this semester. I have been doing really well up to this summer semester, and I have been really struggling with keeping up with all the materials, especially since we have 3 of them, and I had a compressed schedule. I had other external, stressor. So it was, hectic. So I blamed everything on uncontrollable or external factor, like I am burned out, or this is just difficult. And then I decided to apply the dimensions of causal attribution theory, like locus of control, stability, and controllability, and deliberately framing my negative thought and patterns to control how I was thinking. So I implemented different daily journals. I tracked my progress every week. I did reflection. I had a positive talk with myself. So every time I was, thinking negative, oh, I cannot do this. I don't feel like doing it. I did a little positive pep talk. I know that's weird, but it actually works. So I got myself up, got to quiet room, and got to work, and actually got things done. And it actually helped me gradually with my motivation and confidence that I can actually do the work this semester, even though it is summer and it's a lot going on. So that helped with the mindfulness and mindfulness part of it also when I did all of this.
All
Next.
right. So looking into the goal orientation theory, with goal orientation, it focuses on setting goals and the type of goal, and then how that goal keeps you moving forward. So there are 2 types of orientations that are focused on mastery goals and performance goals. Mastery goals are focused on a mastery of learning, that you learn from your errors and your mistakes, judge performance based on standards of self-improvement and progress, while focusing on avoiding not mastering the task and errors indicative of failure. So it keeps away from, oh, I got this wrong because I'm dumb. It's a goal of, I want to improve. The goal is to increase mastery, understanding, and a love of learning, but also judging performance based on the standards of not being wrong. So your performance goals focus on outperforming others. These are generally competitive goals. These are super common among gifted kids. who things naturally come easy for them. They generally move into this because they're trying to compete with their peers for the higher grade. Judge the performance based on a normative standard of being the best performer, again, focusing on being on the top, whereas it focuses on avoiding errors indicative of failure, and judge performances based on normative standards of not being the worst performer. So the goal in a performance goal is a lot of the time is not being at the bottom. So these can also be a form of work avoidance goals. So what I did in our active motivation assignment, I focused on the goal orientation theory. And one of the groups I work with regularly, we have the adult workers, advisors, and then we have the active youth. And we had a chapter, one of the local groups that is struggling, and particularly with putting on decent events. So we sat down and we're kind of trying to figure out, all right, well, what's a goal we can have here to achieve a regular process, a successful event? And what I found to be very interesting was that most of the young men set a performance goal. They wanted to have 3 events that were successful, whereas the adults on the other side had a mastery-based goal and wanted to develop skills in order to coach the young men to release better events. What I found after doing this repeatedly over the course of ended up being about 2 weeks, the kids were motivated when we created a goal tracking chart. Oh, hey, good, you successfully held an event. It worked well. We color in a bar. That kept them moving, whereas the adults didn't really care. They didn't need to see the tracking. They didn't want to. They knew based on what the feedback was and what they were capable of doing if they were able to meet that goal and move forward. So overall, it ended up being very successful, and I think it ended up working well. And out of the 3, this one seems to be the one that I have had the most luck, at least over this semester, utilizing and having success with. So here is our reference page where we got a lot of our information, where we ended up deep diving outside of some of the class lessons, and overall, I think we all learned a lot. Does anybody else have anything they would like to add?
No.
All right.